There's a force inside you. Quiet, invisible, but always in control. It's the reason a stranger's voice can pull you in. Why unfamiliar places feel strangely personal. Why you're drawn to things you don't even understand. You think it's curiosity. You think it's attraction. But it's neither. It's something much deeper. A hidden psychological drive that's been shaping your choices your entire life. And once you realize it exists, you'll never trust your own desires the same way again. We live in a world more connected than ever, and yet we are drawn to what we don't know more than ever before. Millions of people actively seek out foreign cultures, foreign voices, foreign faces, but almost nobody stops to ask, why? Today, we're going to answer that deeply. We'll explore what psychology says about curiosity and attraction, why the unfamiliar can feel more compelling than the familiar, and why certain cultures, particularly those that carry an air of mystery, exert such extraordinary pull over the human imagination. Stay until the end, because the final insight here will genuinely change how you understand yourself. Here's something most people don't know. Curiosity is not an emotion. It's a survival mechanism. Neuroscientists have found that when your brain encounters a gap, a piece of information that is almost complete but not quite, it releases dopamine, the same chemical released by reward, food, even love. Your brain doesn't experience this gap as uncomfortable. It experiences it as urgent. Psychologist George Loewenstein called this the information gap theory of curiosity. The idea is simple. When you perceive that you're missing something, a story, a truth, a person, you become compelled to fill that gap. Now apply this to people and cultures. When you encounter someone from a culture you don't fully understand, your brain doesn't register confusion. It registers possibility. You don't know their rules. You don't know their history. You don't know how they think. And that gap, that unknown, activates the same dopamine system as a mystery novel you can't put down. But that's only half the story. There's something deeper happening here, something wired into human evolution itself. Long before psychology had a name for it, humans were already being drawn to the unfamiliar. Early humans who explored new territory survived better. They found new food sources, new alliances, new mates. The desire to explore, to approach the new rather than flee from it, was selected for over thousands of generations. The people who didn't have it, they stayed put, they stagnated. And over time, evolution quietly favored the explorers. This means your attraction to the foreign isn't random, it's ancestral. There's also a phenomenon called outbreeding advantage, the biological benefit of mating with someone genetically different from yourself. Research shows humans can unconsciously detect genetic diversity through subtle sensory cues. People from different genetic backgrounds, which often correlates with different cultures, can trigger stronger attraction responses. Your body is reading information your conscious mind never processes. So when someone crosses your path from a distant culture, something primal wakes up, something older than language. But evolution only sets the stage. What really fuels the obsession, the deep, persistent fascination, is something more personal. And this is where it gets interesting. There's a psychological phenomenon called the contrast effect. Simply put, the more different something is from your everyday experience, the more intensely it registers in your perception. Think about it. If you grew up in a loud, chaotic household, silence feels magnetic to you. If you were raised in a reserved culture, expressive passion seems magnetic. We are drawn toward qualities that represent what we lack, not because we're incomplete, but because contrast creates contrast fascination. This is why people from the United States are often captivated by European restraint. Why people from Northern Europe are often mesmerized by Southern warmth and expressiveness. Why people across the globe are drawn to cultures that seem to embody something they've been quietly searching for. And this dynamic becomes particularly intense when the culture in question carries genuine mystique, when it has layers that can't be decoded in a single encounter. Take Russian culture as one clear example. To outsiders, it presents a paradox, a surface of reserve and formality that conceals extraordinary depth, warmth, and complexity. Russian literature is among the most emotionally penetrating in the world. Russian history is dense with tragedy and triumph. Russian social values blend stoic resilience with fierce loyalty. That paradox, the hidden depths beneath the composed exterior, is precisely what curiosity feeds on. The brain sees a gap, and it wants to understand. Here's something that might surprise you. Familiarity kills attraction. We tend to assume that the more we know someone or some culture, the more we'll love them. But the psychology tells a different story. Research by social psychologist James Pennebaker found that as mystery decreases, so does fascination. What's fully revealed can no longer captivate. The cultures and people who remain partially understood, who seem to reward discovery over time without ever being fully decoded, create what psychologists call a variable reward schedule. This is the same mechanism that makes certain games, certain books, certain people completely impossible to walk away from. The foreign is, by nature, inexhaustible. You can spend years learning the language, studying the history, immersing yourself, and still discover new layers. That inexhaustibility is not a frustration. It is the engine of obsession. Now here's the deeper question. Is this healthy? There's an important line between curiosity that leads to genuine connection and curiosity that stays superficial. Psychologists distinguish between what they call epistemic curiosity, the desire to truly understand, and perceptual curiosity, the desire for novelty for its own sake. One deepens a relationship over time. The other fades the moment the novelty wears off. The people who develop the richest, most meaningful cross-cultural relationships are those who move from the first kind of curiosity to empathy. They stop treating the foreign culture as an object of fascination and start experiencing it as a living, breathing world. This shift matters because cultures are not performances. People are not exhibits. The real connection, the one that lasts, comes when curiosity transforms into genuine respect and investment. And the beautiful paradox, the more you truly invest in understanding a foreign culture, the more fascinating it becomes. Empathy doesn't kill the mystery, it deepens it. Here's the truth that pulls all of this together, and it's one most people never arrive at on their own. When you're drawn to a foreign culture, you are not just drawn to them. You are drawn to a version of yourself you haven't met yet. Every culture contains a different way of being human, different philosophies about time, suffering, love, community, achievement. When you feel that pull toward the unfamiliar, when a language moves you, even though you don't understand it, when a stranger's face carries a story you want to know, what you're responding to is the silent knowledge that there are ways of living you have not yet imagined. Curiosity about foreign cultures is, at its deepest level, curiosity about the full range of human experience. And somewhere inside that range, there is a version of you that is more complete. That's not romantic idealization. That's the brain doing exactly what it was built to do, reaching toward growth, toward expansion, toward the unknown, not because the unknown is better, but because it is necessary. Curiosity is not a weakness. It is not naivety. It is not something to feel embarrassed about. It is the most sophisticated thing your brain does. It is the mechanism by which every great explorer explored, every great thinker thought, every great connection was formed. The pull you feel toward foreign cultures, toward unfamiliar faces, distant languages, different ways of being alive, that pull is ancient. It is intelligent, and it is pointing you somewhere important. Follow it with intention, with respect, with genuine desire to understand rather than merely consume. Because the world rewards that kind of curiosity, and so do the people in it. If this video sparked something in you, Share it with someone who loves exploring ideas. Leave a comment below. I want to know. Which culture has captivated you and why? Subscribe if you're new here, because we go deep on the human mind every week. And if you're ready to keep going right now, the next video is waiting.